Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you all very much indeed for coming along today to my campaign launch. You all here today because we're also here as well as celebrating Europe's culture and Scotland's part within that, because I want to put myself forward for Depute Leader of the SNP. And I really want to do that role. I really want to do that job, because I think we can achieve some amazing things for Scotland. We live in extraordinary times. Now is not a time for business as usual. We have an opportunity to put Scotland on the map and explain Scotland to our European friends and colleagues, and explain Europe to Scots as well, in a way that we have never done before. We have an opportunity to put Europe at the heart of independence, and the SNP at the heart of the Yes movement. And I believe I have a number of unique attributes that I can bring to that discussion. I've represented Scotland, as Richard says, in the European Parliament for 12 years now. I've been a frontline parliamentarian doing real heavy lifting on Scotland's behalf for over a decade. And I've picked up some stuff. I've made some pals. I've done some things. I've opened some doors. And I believe that we have an opportunity to bring independence closer than it has ever been for the people of this country. And my pitch is a simple one. Now's the time. We, the SNP, must embrace the European question at the very heart of how we do business. It's obvious to the Dougs in the street that the European question is going to be the defining attribute of politics in these islands for the next few years and the foreseeable future. We need to make clear to ourselves as a party, to Scotland, and to the wider world that we have chosen Europe as our future, where Westminster is our past. We can never win, we will never win in Westminster. This week's obscenity of the Trident vote being imposed upon Scotland against the clear, demonstrable wishes of Scotland's representatives proves that. I've shown you how much we can win in Europe. We are well liked, we are well thought of, we are well regarded. And within the EU, at a time when the EU really needs a good news story, Scotland could be it. A resource-rich, on the European continental scale, peripheral country of educated, well-off, oil, fish, gas, renewables, all the rest of the good stuff that we have, wanting to remain within the European project, the European family. We have a glittering opportunity to put Scotland's case to our European friends. And we need to do that directly. We need to learn the lessons of the last independence referendum in 2014, where we spoke quite rightly with the London representatives of the international media, the wider world, and often they viewed us with London's baggage. Within Brussels, we have a wider canvas and a greater opportunity to speak to Brussels, yes, and the institutions there, but through Brussels, the member state capitals. Because Scotland's European status, whatever it will be decided as much in Tallinn, Bratislava, Ljubljana, Lisbon, as it will in Brussels or London. We need someone who can take that message the length and breadth of Europe. We need someone who can come to Scotland and explain what's happening within the European continent to the people of Scotland. Because much as our vote in the referendum was unanimous across Scotland's councils, it wasn't unanimous. There remains a discussion to have within Scotland about our place within the world. But as we face the prospect of a bleak post-Brexit bargain basement Britain, there are a lot of decent, thoughtful people within Scotland reassessing their views of the SNP and reassessing their views of Scotland's place in the world. We must facilitate and help that discussion. We must be attractive to attract people into that debate. We need to tell the people of Europe what Scotland's all about. Trust me, they like what they hear. They need to hear it from us. I always say, my experience over the water, if you want to buy, you can buy in English. If you want to sell, you need to make more of an effort. And we need to sell Scotland right now. I can do that. And that's it brings me to my second USP, time. I have the time to do this. You may have noticed that my day-to-day workload has been pretty dramatically cleared recently. I have an opportunity. My role, my only role, is Scotland and Europe. It's to make sense of Brexit. It's to represent Scotland to the wider world. It's to represent Europe to the people of Scotland. The day-to-day that has taken up so much of my time previously has been cleared. Scotland's MEPs have united, 5 of Scotland's MEPs have united. One was posted missing, as you may have gathered. Have united to put the party badges to one side to get the best deal we can for Scotland. And we have differences of our politics within that, of course, but this is not the time for normal politics. So we have discussions the length and breadth of Europe, also discussions the length and breadth of Scotland, which is my third USP. As an MEP, my constituency is the whole of Scotland, from Shetland to Stranraer. I represent the whole of the nation within the European Parliament. The whole of the nation is my constituency. For 13 years I have been travelling the length and breadth of Scotland, working with and for our councillors, MSPs, MPs, grassroots, up and down the country. I have had a ringside seat as we have watched Scotland's attitude change to its place in the world and to the question of independence. I will continue that work. Same as I did within the European referendum, where I did upwards of 40 public meetings up and down the country to take the argument to where it was happening. I've long said if I sit in Brussels and wait for people to come to me, I'll wait quite a while. It's my job to get out and about. It's my job to sell, not buy. So I bring that to the table also. And my position within the party, a further strength. Where I have worked with and for local government, our national government at Holyrood, the MPs down at Westminster, I'm independent of all 3 institutions. I link and support them all, but I'm not beholden to one. My duty is to Scotland, my duty is to the cause, my duty is to the SNP. So I bring that to the table also. I have a relationship with the grassroots of the party nationwide. I have support in my depute bid from Dumfries and Galloway and Shetland, and everywhere in between. I've been blown away by the support that I have had. It's been heartening to see just how many people in Scotland, of the SNP and outside, have been switched on to the importance of the European question, and the symbolic importance and practical importance of us choosing Europe as our future at a time when these islands have by a slim majority chosen otherwise. And in the role of the grassroots, the other side of the Depute Leader, facilitating change within the party. We've been on a roller coaster since the independence referendum. 21 months ago we've had the membership surge, we've had the Westminster result, we've had the Holyrood result, we've had the European referendum. The party needs a bit of a time to think about our structures, to think about how we do things, to think about our organisation, to think about how we activate and cohere the unprecedented resources that the party is blessed to have. We have never had more people, we have never had more activists, we have never had more resources at our disposal. I think there is a job to be done in cohering those to make us fighting fit for what is going to come to follow. There's a wider independence movement as well. We're the SNP, and I'm proudly an SNP politician, but there's people who aren't persuaded by the SNP, but are persuaded by the cause of independence. The Yes movement looks to the SNP for leadership and relies upon us for organisation. We need to step up and we need to facilitate that network, work with that network and nurture that ecosystem around the party. There are many ways in which we can do that. We need to play our part in leading the debate within Scotland, even more than we do right now. We also need to discuss how we set our policy. Now in this I think our structures are quite fit for purpose. I think we have all the structures we need, but we do need a greater energy to involve the grassroots of the party in the discussion and formulation of policy. All European political parties have a think tank, a foundation attached to them. It is remarkable in Scottish politics that we have so few think tanks that are actually involved in policy, novel policy formulation. We need to encourage that discussion. New ideas are not something to be afraid of. For the SNP, we revel in the sense of the possible, and we can facilitate that. So it looks like we're going to have an interesting debate within the party. It looks like there's going to be 4 candidates, 4 very strong, very distinct propositions. And this is a traditional SNP contest. It's the same way as we rank our MEPs. This is not my first rodeo. I've been through this process a few times before. You step up, you make your case, you trust the members to make a choice on a one member, one vote, single transferable vote ballot. Then you all shake hands, and knowing us, you probably all go for a pint afterwards as well. So it's going to be an energising discussion of real ideas and real talent. I think it speaks well for the party that we are where we are. I would, in saying that, also add that, if anything, it's a little bit too gentlemanly. I would like to see women stand. I would encourage, as I always do, my female colleagues to put themselves forward. If I can assist in that nomination process, I'll be very happy to do so. The deadline for papers isn't until next Friday, so there is just still time if anybody's minded in that direction. So I think I bring a number of things to the table within this discussion. I think now is not a time for day-to-day politics. Now is a time for Scotland to make a choice about the sort of country we want to be, the sort of look we want to put forward to the wider world. It is assuredly not Boris Johnson and Theresa May. I think we can do better. I think we can choose better. I think I can play a role within that and work with and for the party and the cause, the length and breadth of Scotland and the length and breadth of Europe too. So I know you can rely on me, and I hope I can rely on you also. Thanks very much indeed for coming.